Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Knicks Recap and Reaction Show. Coming at you a little earlier today out of necessity. But for the most part, we should be back to our regular time. Well, I'll be here Thursday. It is New Year's Day, so I don't know about Jeff, but I'll be here.
I should be here on Thursday. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, anyway, I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, joined by my co-host, Jeff Klafter from the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports Blog, also resident panelist on the weekly show. I'm super happy. I'm super stoked. Listen, let me know, Jeff, family, if you are team get the win however you can get the win, or are you team you can't be struggling like this against a bad team if you call yourself a contender. So let me know what camp you're in today. I am in love with this team. I'm in love with Mike Brown and what he's, what he's doing up to this point. I think you just got to find a way to win. Like, to me, this is what NBA basketball and any competitive team sport is about. Everybody knows everybody else. They know how you play. They know what you like to do, and they're going to do their best to take it away from you. And some teams are just not good enough to do that. I thought New Orleans wouldn't be good enough to do that for the Knicks. And last night they had, I haven't watched them all season, but I would guess they're one of their best games of the season in terms of rebounding better than, they're like a bottom three team and offensive rebounding percentage. No, not offensive, but defensive rebounding percentage. Like, they're just a bottom team, offensive rating, defensive rating. And if you didn't know that and you just turned that game on, you would have thought, wow, this must be one of the better teams in the league, because they are putting it to the Knicks. And thank goodness the Knicks shot lights out last night, because the defense, particularly in that first half, giving up 75 points to a team that's like 27th or 28th in offensive rating, in my opinion, is just unacceptable, even though the Knicks are not a great defensive team themselves, but still. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, let him give his synopsis of the game, and then we're going to dive deeper into it. Jeff, how are you?
I'm great. Look, get a win any way you can. I don't believe in moral victories, so ugly wins don't bother me. And I think from a certain standpoint, it's a coach's dream, because you get the win and you get to, you know what I mean? You there's a lot of stuff you can coach and correct, and especially the defense was rather porous. But I think that's kind of a function of playing these younger guys. Because I think what you noticed in the fourth quarter when we made our run and kind of took control of the game, it was most of our regulars who are used to playing with one another and are kind of more on a string, if you will. And I think we gave up 50 points in the second half and 22 in the fourth quarter. I think younger players will struggle more defensively. I think that's that. Because they have to learn it, right? And there are some exceptions to that. Like, some people are just locked down all the time when they get in, just because of, athleticism or something like that. But this Knick team is good. When it's good defensively, it's, in my opinion, is good defensively because of scheme, because we don't have really very many lineups that we play that have five really good defenders in them. So a lot of it is reliant on maximizing what Bridges and OG can do, and kind of squeezing the orange to get every last ounce out of it. And I think you saw that particularly in the fourth quarter of this game, when Anunoby defensively was brilliant, in my opinion. And Bridges is always more than solid. I know we'll go deeper into that, but I wasn't thrilled about the process these last two games. We probably shouldn't need to, have these, Tom's Maylocks moments when we're playing against the Hawks and the Pelicans. But road games are hard to win. We're now over 500 on the road on the season, which probably a month ago seemed like a pipe dream, right? So, and I think the point that you made is the perfect one. Like, good teams find a way to win even when they're not playing well, right? That is the mark of a good team. So I think if you're looking for if you're kind of uneasy about where we're at right now, kind of take comfort in that, and the fact that typically this team does usually rise to the level of its competition, and hopefully on when we play the Spurs tomorrow night, I expect that we'll see a little bit crisper version of the Knicks than we saw against New Orleans.
Well, crisper? The Knicks better be crispy.
Spurs have lost two straight. I don't know if you know that or not, but they lost to the Jazz and the Cavs back to back.
I did see that. They're still a good team, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Wemby's a problem. Harper's a problem. Castle's a problem. De'Aaron Fox is still really good. They have a lot of answers for a lot of folks. Just ask Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. We were without Mitchell Robinson last night, and we were out rebounded last night by 8, I want to say, and on the offense
42. That's right.
Yeah, and on the offensive glass by 6. I think that's a function of Robinson and Hart being out. OG came in with 11 offensive rebounds for us. Towns had 12. I want to start with Mike Brown. I don't know if we talk about him enough. If you don't know, I have kind of like a soft spot for coaches. So I kind of know how this business goes. I've been watching basketball for over 40 years, the NBA particularly. And I know how this goes. You get off to a hot stretch. The team is good. Oh, this is the best coach. Next year, the Knicks hit a rough patch. Now he's on the hot seat, right? This is what's going on in Cleveland with Kenny Atkinson. So I tend not to get into the hyperbole of, this is just, oh my God. I know how this goes. You don't be a great coach and then a bum coach, overnight. Coaching is dynamic, and success is about a lot of things coming together for that coach, and failure is usually about a lot of things coming together for the coach and the team. But Mike Brown is everything. I say this all the time. Everything I hoped he would be and everything I want him to be. Last night he played 12. Now, I don't expect him to play 12, right? There's been times when he's played 7.5. There's been time when he's played 8.5. There's been times when no young players were in the rotation. Now there's every young player is in the rotation.
They're pulling Josh Hart's kids and putting them on.
Right. The thing about it is, whatever it takes to win, I'm gonna try to figure it out. Like last night, nothing was working. The team looked terrible defensively. And to me, I feel like the 12-man rotation was about, let me see if I can find something or somebody that's going to work, whether that's an individual player, whether that's a combination of players. This is not working. Let me see what I can do. And I love that. About him. I love, calling the timeouts right after a missed defensive play. Obviously, he didn't have 682 timeouts, which he would have needed last night. A timeout after every terrible defensive play. But I love that. Break the momentum. It's like, boop, right there. That's how you get your team's attention. I love that about him. And, putting the young kids in, listen, some of it is necessity. Like let's not gloss over that. We were down hard. We were down. McBride came back last night, but before that, McBride and Shaman. Last night we were without Robinson. So some of it is necessity. Okay, I get it. But some of the players he's using is like, he didn't have to use McCullough, even with the necessity, right? He could have gave Diawara more minutes. He could have gave, some of the starters more minutes. I love this, shout out to Tony, who was with me Sunday. He called it data collection. It's just data. Let me throw these guys in early in the season so we could see, we could see what we have. If I need to go through, go to them later on, I kind of have a sense, of who they are. You guys know how I stand about young players in the playoffs, and there's nothing any young player could do during the course of a regular season that would change my opinion about that when it comes to the playoffs. But right now, we're not talking about the playoffs, right? Right now, we're talking about an injured team that needs players to step up, who are getting the opportunity and who are giving us positive minutes. And over the course of a season, you're going to need that. Even Yabusele got back. Kudos to Mike Brown for that too. He didn't have to play Yabusele last night. But he had 2 DMPs, and I'm wondering if he's thinking, let me just throw him in here. Like, I don't want anybody sitting on the bench, feeling like they are totally out of the rotation forever. Let me put him in here, give him some minutes. And he was rewarded. He was 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, 2 terrible turnovers. Okay, nobody's perfect. But, I like that, as well. Just get him, just get him out there. Kolick, the last 2 games have not been great. He only played 12 minutes last night. Yes, like you're going to go up and down as your performance goes up and down. You're going to be in and out based on your performance, based on your need, going zone at times, in the press con. I'm going to throw it to you, Geoff. I know I'm
just cook. Just cook. I'm good. I'm paying attention. I'm learning. So keep going.
Just in the press conferences, getting on guys. I love the way he does it, a little sandwich method where he'll, give them a compliment, criticize, then give them a compliment at the end. I'm just loving him. And again, coaching is dynamic. There's a lot of things going right for the Knicks right now. I talked about Kenny Atkinson. Now they want him out the door. Like it shit changes in the NBA like that. But for right now, this team is cooking, man. And I'm looking at these squeaky wins and not feeling disheartened about it. I'm actually feeling encouraged that they're figuring it, they're figuring it out. They're not dying on the vine, 50 points in that second half, 22 points, in that fourth quarter. It's like, we're going to stay in here and we're going to figure it out. Do we need to be better? Yes. Should we be giving up 75 points to New Orleans? Hell no. But we're not going to give up. We're going to come back in the second half and we're going to make it happen. So I am falling in love with this team. I'm falling in love with Mike Brown. I'm falling in love with the young talent the Knicks have. Say what you want about the Knicks with their first round draft picks, other than Grimes, Quickly, Barrett. But these second round draft picks, the Knicks, particularly this front office, has been hitting, and you could see maybe 2-3 years down the line, they'd be like, you know what? Diawara is ready. We're not going to re-sign Josh Hart. Diawara is ready. Maybe we don't extend whoever it is. And in this collective bargaining agreement, if you can get, cheap talent, you need to. And I think, and Geoff, I am going to throw it back to you. This is a lot of what Mike Brown is doing. He's getting a lot of credit for, but I think a lot of this is coming from the front office, and they found a collaborative partner, right? Like they're saying, we're looking at we're going into the second apron. We need to kind of bring these young players along when you can, because we're going to need them going forward. We're going to need some cheap talent and I think that was an organizational decision, and Mike Brown is finding time when he can. When we're healthy, none of these young players were in the lineup, right? Will they be going forward based on what they've shown so far? We shall see. And I think the same thing with the minutes. I think that's also organizational. Listen, we need to keep the minutes down from these for our main guys when you can. We understand. There's been games when Bridges played 40 minutes, right? There's been times when some of their minutes have been up. There was a time on a back-to-back, Karl Anthony Towns played like 40 minutes on the second half of a back-to-back. It happens sometimes. But for the most part, this is what the organization wants. It's almost like a mandate, if you ask me. And Mike Brown has been delivering and winning at the same time. Like it's not like, oh, they're hampering me with these minutes restriction. They're hampering me with me having to bring these young guys along. And they're giving him grace. They're giving him flexibility. Like they're not like, oh, listen, it's been 5 games now. No young player has been in the rotation. This is no, they like it's a collaboration. So super happy with the team right now. Super happy with Mike Brown. Jeff, I don't know if I need to say anything else for the rest of the show.
I think you need to keep cooking. You're one of the best analysts out there in Knicks in the Knicks content creator universe for a reason.
Wow. I don't know about that.
I'm more than happy to just sit back and let you cook some good food right there. But I like Mike Brown. I think he's doing a good job. I'm curious how the reaction would have been this morning if it was a 1-point loss instead of a 3-point win. How excited would we have been that we, played the kids so long, and would the, would the reaction be the same? I mean, I think you can make the argument that the reason the game was close was because we kind of messed around and tinkered in the first half and played a lot of guys who aren't as talented and aren't as good. I think we had like the G League lineup on the court at one time at one point. So, and maybe that's strategic and that's fine. I think if he did that with the thought that this third game of a road trip, I'm going into San Antonio on Wednesday, then I really, really like that thought process, right? We can do enough to keep the game close, keep it within distance, and then we go to our closing lineup at the end. And I kind of feel like in the absence of Josh Hart, Deuce McBride is kind of showing why he deserves the starting position, in my opinion. It's one of the things that I've been talking about for a while. And I think that lineup that closed and made the big push at the end was really the one that we, that may be our best lineup. I mean, I think, we have our Diawara crush, all of us. I think Cool Mo D, but I think right now he's just Cool Mo. I don't see a whole lot of D going on there, but it's kind of fascinating that he had the same number of field goal attempts as Karl Anthony Towns that game. Like, and to his credit, he shot the ball well. We really struggled on the glass from our forwards position in particular. Huck Porty didn't have a rebound, I don't think. Diawara didn't really grab any boards.
Didn't have anything. If you didn't see the minutes, if you covered the minutes and you just looked at his stat line, you would think he didn't play. if it wasn't for the 2 fouls, right? It was just zeros across the board.
And credit to Towns and OG. Like, first of all, that's one of the things that you pointed out at the beginning of the year that I've been tracking and following is how good of a rebounder is OG Anunoby going to be this year. He's definitely improved on that end. Absolutely. Double digits last night was critical. Towns, again, double-digit rebounds despite missing time because of silly fouls. Again, right? And so, but those really were the 2 guys. Like everybody else, like I think Deuce McBride had more rebounds than every other forward. He had 3. So, I think that's kind of a concern from the younger guys. It's always nice when a guy scores, like Diawara was on fire. I think he's 4 for 4 for 3 and 7 of 9 from the field, which is great, but he was also minus 12, in a game that we won by 3 points. So, I think that it's fun to be enthusiastic about the young kids, but, I don't know that I'm ready to hand the keys of the car over to him just yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm glad that we kind of pressed the right button. We got we got good minutes out of him, and I think there's a lot there for the future and going forward. So I think that that it's good. He's going to be a really good rotation player. But I'm not going to like jump out the window for him because he hit a couple of shots in 18 minutes of work. I thought he did a nice job on as far as scoring. I think he got a little lost defensively, and the defense wasn't just his fault, but I mean, we gave up 41 points in the first quarter to the Pelicans. That's a lot. I mean, and he was certainly part of that. And so, I think that we need to take the good and the bad and kind of look at all of it, and not just like, it's easy for us, especially after a win, to just say, hey, everything is great. Well, some of the things are not so great right now. And there are some things that we definitely need to figure out, particularly on the defensive end. I thought last night was maybe our worst defensive performance of the season, especially in that first half. And I didn't think we were particularly good against Atlanta either. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to monitor is how are we going to get this to passing? Because I don't know that you can survive playing defense like you can beat the Hawks and the Pelicans like this, but can you beat the Thunder and I guess we did beat the Spurs about a week ago, but that was with Josh Hart and different folks. So I'm a little bit concerned about the defense right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I think your point is valid. Like if you take the macro, the macro view. And I think we're both on the same page in terms of young players when it comes to the playoffs. But if you're just taking like a slice, or smaller macro view, this is what you want from your young players. Like, that they give you good minutes when they come in. Like, is Diawara ready to start for the New York Knicks and play 30 minutes and be a consistent performer? Probably not, right? Probably not, right? I think if he got that type of role, we would really see the ups and downs magnified, in terms of his development. But like overall, when you look at Diawara and you look at Kolek and you look at McCullough, for me, it's encouraging that the Knicks have them in the pipeline, and so when they go out and have, games like this, to me, it's like, this is somebody who's Diawara, who's raw, who, in my opinion, his defense and his athleticism and his energy and his length is well ahead of the shooting, right? I do think he has a good feel for the game offensively, but well ahead of his shooting. But to see him come out with that energy, he just pops off the screen energetically. And to see him knock down shots. And one thing about him, he was hot. He could have taken more shots. There were times when he had open looks and he just moved the ball along. So it was, like he was playing within the floor. I wasn't like, oh, I'm hot, I'm going to take every open shot that, I get. So to me, I know these young players are going to be up and down. So I'm kind of looking for, did we get positive minutes from them in the time that they did get? Is there a certain skill level that I'm seeing from them that I think if they continue to develop would bode well for us, even if not this season, next season, or the year after? That's kind of what I'm looking at. It's not going to be gravy every single game. Like we've seen Diawara come out some games and shoot it to the street. Like where did that shot go? But I don't know, just that little slice, of just seeing the potential, is encouraging, to me. And I think it helps their confidence too, to get the time. Like they know what it is when we're fully healthy. Who of these young guys will still be in the rotation? Maybe Diawara will get, some minutes as the 10th guy, I don't know. For me, it was just good to see. Anybody else? Where do you want to go next?
Well, Mikal Bridges only scored 6 points. I thought he could very well could have been the player of the game. 10 assists, just moved the ball along. Excuse me. The Knicks had 35 assists on 46 made field goals, I think, something like that, which is really good. And I think it speaks to kind of what you talked about. And one of the things I actually like about Diawara is his court vision is for a young forward is elite, in my opinion. Like, there's not very many who see the court and can make passes like he's able to do. So that's really good. But I really liked what Bridges did. He didn't shoot the ball much, if at all, but he didn't need to. He's really, really good distributing the ball, secondary playmaker, getting people the ball where they needed it, finding the hot hand and recognizing that some of these players had it going. Let's get them the ball. And he and Jalen Brunson both had 10 assists. When was the last time the Knicks had 2 players with double-digit assists? That doesn't happen very often in the league, period. So it was very, very interesting dynamic last night, I think, between the Nova boys.
Yeah, for sure. It is easier to get those assists when you're shooting the way the Knicks shot last night. 48.4% for the game, 45.5% from 3. And in the first half, you wouldn't know it. They gave up 75 points, but they scored, 73 or 72 or something like that. They shot 51% from the field and 47, almost 48% from 3. Like, if the Knicks offense wasn't keeping pace, this would have been a bloodbath. This definitely would have been a bloodbath. Yeah. Good point in terms of Mikal Bridges. Go ahead, Geoff. You wanted to say something?
And I think that goes back to your kudos to Mike Brown, right? That's the offense we envisioned, right? That's what he did in Sacramento, right? He brought what he learned in San Antonio and what he learned in Golden State, and he brought it to the Warriors, and he brought it to the Kings, and now you're seeing that similar elite offense with the Knicks, and as part of it is the ability to get Brunson off ball more and get him some better looks. He was 5 of 10 from 3 last night. A lot of good catch and shoot opportunities from him. And I think that just makes him a much more dynamic player. He still didn't shoot the ball well from the field overall. I think it was 10 of 23, which, it's not as efficient as we're used to from Jalen, but I'm not going to kill him over it. I mean, he was the guy in the fourth quarter yet again. It seems to kind of be the MO of late. He kind of struggles through quarters 1 through 3. And then, he's back to his normal self come the fourth quarter, and he's able to carry us across the finish line yet again. But he had help. I mean, McBride had some clutch free throws. And
12 of his 14 points was in that fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
And that's something that you've talked about with Deuce before, though. He seems to be a player that elevates as the game goes along. A lot like Alec Burks. Alec Burks is guy. All of a sudden he's got 18 points, and all of them are in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And so, yeah, Deuce doesn't seem to shy away from the big moment, which is nice, and I hope that continues in the postseason. I thought he was really good. It was good to have him back. He's the only point of attack defender we have pretty much right now. And so, that's a big weakness of the team. And he doesn't play 48 minutes. So when he's not out there, I think that's a big reason why the defense is a hot mess is, that's job one, is to be able to stop the ball and stay in front. And that's something that Jalen Brunson has actually done a much better job of this season. And I thought they did a good job in the fourth quarter. But in the first half, it was like, the doors were open and you just take whatever you want. I mean, it was really, really atrocious. But I thought we got really good minutes from Deuce, and I think that he's shown that his role is going to be a minimum of 25 minutes. Like even when everybody's healthy, he's borderline starter to say the least. And I think that our best units have Brunson and McBride playing together, which isn't, is counterintuitive to the, you need to have size. Well, that lineup just continues as the sample size gets bigger and bigger to say, well, maybe no, you don't.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to start, though, because the Knicks have been pretty good with Josh Hart in that lineup, too. So I'm not sure if Mike Brown is going to go back to take Hart out and put in McBride. But to your point, if he does, the Knicks are just as good. For me, it's not even about who starts, is what are the different lineups that are being used, and are these positive lineups. So when McBride is in there, those lineups are positive. When Hart is in there, it's positive. To me, it's more about the positive lineups and those closing lineups as well. But again, everybody on this team pretty much has made it difficult for Mike Brown when everybody is healthy. And another good thing is you got to have good situational players, because in the NBA, there's always a situation. Foul trouble, injuries, suspensions. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jose Alvarado. But there's always situations, and to see these guys step up in situations bode well for us, even if they don't remain in the rotation. Like, we can go to these guys and chances are we'll get positive minutes. It's not going to be all the time, right? Because they're young, but we can get some positive minutes. But just to piggyback on McBride, looked like he never left. He only played 18 and a half minutes. That's it. That's all he played. But the impact was phenomenal. 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point line, 4 of 4, I believe, from the free throw line. If I'm not mistaken, he's a big shot maker. He's a big shot maker. So kudos to him. I'm going to talk a little bit about Towns. 30 minutes, and a lot of that was foul trouble. He only played 10 minutes in the first half. He played 20 of the 24 minutes in the second half. Only took 9 shots, like 4. I think it was 4 shots in the second half, 5 shots in the first half. And I know I've been on this kick, like after Brunson, it's just kind of equal. Opportunity between Towns and OG and Bridges. But last night, nobody took over 10 shots except for OG and Brunson. And I go back and forth with let Towns get it within the flow of the game. And 9 shots is unacceptable. Between that, Jeff, 9 shots for Towns. Like, this guy, the Minnesota game when Brunson didn't play, there was another game after that where you could and listen, we know Towns. We've seen him over 10 years. We've seen him all of last year when he had a career year. We know what he can do on the offensive end. We might be leaving a little meat on the bone by not taking more advantage of him. Now, 3 games from now, I might be back to letting him get it within the flow of the game, right? But 9 shots, no. And kudos to him. He is a professional. There's no sulking. He just does his job, right? 12 rebounds last night, and we were still out rebounded. But, he got, another double-double, 12 points, 12 rebounds. He hit the go-ahead 3, right, for the first lead of the night since the first quarter. He just stays in there, regardless of whether he's getting the ball, not getting the ball. They're going down, they're not going down. He just stays in the game. Just thoughts on Towns last night, and if you want to talk again about how you think he should be getting more shots.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the get Cat more shots club. I'm not gonna beat that dead horse, but he stays engaged, and that's what I like about it. He's not sulking because he's not getting the shots, and that, to me, that shows the professionalism that you were talking about. I mean, he just wants to win, and you can tell that he's locked in because he makes the big play in the fourth quarter with the 3. Some of those rebounds he got are crucial to ending a defensive possession, and so very much, very engaged and active in what's going on, and doesn't seem to be, pouting or anything like that. So, you know, if he's okay with getting 9 shots and we're winning, I mean, okay. I think when the playoffs come, we're going to need him to be a more consistent, you know, more consistent shot diet for him. I think the Knicks can do more to get him more involved, but I don't know that they're necessarily trying to do that. I don't think
it doesn't look like it.
You know, it doesn't look like they're keyed in on let's get Karl Anthony Towns a bunch of shots. But you know, it's almost as if, what was it, that game when he was played for the Wolves and he dropped 60, I think, and the Wolves lost the game, and that kind of, I feel like that game shaped him a little bit. And he's like, wait a minute, like, yeah, I can go off for 60, but is me going off for 60 what's best for the team? Or does, you know, OG need more shots? Or does, you know, is the offense going to work better if I'm not dominating the play and I'll pick my spots, and if I'm feeling it, I'm good. You know, in the Atlanta game, he finally got a decent whistle, right? They actually called all the fouls that he's faces every single game, and he got to the line like 20 times. So, you know, you obviously didn't see that in this one, but that's fine. I like Towns. I think he's, you know, I think he's showing maturity. He's showing to be a 10-year vet who's, you know, interested in a championship. I think it's clear that that's why he's here, and that's what his focus is. And I don't think he cares from one game to the other. Oh, I only got 9 shots. I got this many shots. I got that many shots. So, you know, from a process wise, I think overall you don't want he and Diawara getting the same number of looks at the goal, but you know, Diawara was hot last night, and he did his thing, and Cat made the most of his opportunities when he got them, and post that W number 23 on the board, and let's move forward. So, yeah, I'm really, I think in some ways this is Towns' most impressive season, because he hasn't always had the ball in his hands, and he just continues to do the small things that help us win. And I think his defense has been better, particularly down the stretch in this game. He, you know, I didn't notice that it was like, you know, you didn't say he. In other words, I judge Karl Anthony Towns' defense kind of like I judge referees. If you're noticing it, that probably means something is wrong, and if it just looks smooth and like you don't even know that it's that they're there, then it's probably pretty good, you know.
Yeah. Particularly with this team, they're not very tall. They don't really have. So, you know, you can argue that, you know, had they went to Cat more, you know, I don't know, the Knicks shot lights out. I mean, they still scored 70 some odd points in the first half themselves, right? So I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. Let me see if there's anything else to talk about before we get to the chat. We talked about OG briefly. 37 minutes, 23 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 block, 16 points, 5 rebounds in that second quarter. The go-ahead dunk with 1:48 left, where I think he dribbled around Zion, for the dunk. There was some 4 to 5 lead changes, you know, in that fourth quarter. It was an exciting fourth quarter. I mean, unless you were somebody like, why the hell are we going back and forth when we shouldn't even be in this position, right? Unless you were one of those, you were stressed out and pissed off about that fourth quarter. But, you know, for me, it was just the shot making, going back and forth. You know, I'm not a New Orleans fan. There was another team who played us really well, wasn't expected to be in the game, and we kind of stole it. Cleveland stole that one at the end. New Orleans stole that one, at the end. Moral victories, for them. But yeah, I love the fourth quarter. I love the shot making, in the fourth quarter. And I think OG with that go-ahead bucket, that was the last of the lead changes. After that, he's just phenomenal. Like, to me, him and Bridges is different. Like, Bridges, I'm gonna let the game come to me. You know, I'm happy just moving the ball along. You know, I have a good shot, but if somebody has a better shot, I'm just gonna pass it along. And at the end of the night, if I have 5 shots, I have 5 shots. If I have 10, I have 10. I'm good with that. OG? No. Mm. You give him the ball, he looking to make something happen, you know.
He was 1 of 8 from 3. Other than that, those are
He
flawless
still took
game
8
other
of them,
than-
though.
Yeah, he played great. I'm not disparaging him at all. But I just to your point that he's not going to be shy about it. But yeah, I think that it speaks to the will to win for this team, right? You learn winning. You know, culture setting, learning how to win is a process, and veteran teams that have really good players know how to lock it down in the fourth quarter and turn it up in the fourth quarter and make the requisite plays that you need to win the game. And the Knicks just seem to find a way, right? And I mean, how else do you describe it? They make one more play than the other team, and it doesn't matter that we're, you know, who's on the court or, you know, who's missing. They don't see that doesn't seem to phase them either. They're just like, we're going to go with whatever unit is out there, and we're going to make enough plays to win the game. It may not be the sexiest win in the world. It may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but you know, who cares? It counts the same as a 20-point blowout in the standings. You don't, you know, we don't have a point. We're not a point differential league, right? So, you know, and wins are hard to come by in this league. Road wins are even harder to come by in this league. And so anytime that you gut out a win like we did really the last couple nights, I think you just bank it and you keep moving forward. And I think that's the good part about this stretch of the season. I think we're 15-3 in our last 18 games. And if you want to be a team that wins 50, 60 games, you have to have these prolonged stretches of sustained successful play. And the Knicks are in the middle of one of those right now. And man, it sure is fun. And the other part of that is limiting the, you know, when you do have those slumps or those times when you kind of stump your toe, like we got out of the gate slow. We were like 2-3, weren't we? And so it seems like forever ago. So we don't maybe think about it, but minimizing those down periods and then being able to draw out these periods of success is what the best teams do. And so we're in one of those runs right now. 15-3 is, I mean, that's superb basketball. We're playing over 700 ball for the season. I mean, that's everything that you want. And we faced adversity. That's what I like about it. It's not like, you know, it's not like everything has been handed to us on a silver platter. Pretty much everybody has missed time. I think if you add up the minutes where we've been completely whole as a team, it's probably less than a game's worth. So I think that speaks well. And part of that is because all of these young guys are stepping up and filling their roles. So kudos to Leon Rose for finding guys who can play at the back end of the rotation, because you need those guys. And not only do we have them, they're not just performing, they're shining when they get a chance to play. I mean, McCullough, and it's on different nights too, because we had Kolek Sanity, and he's kind of calmed down a little bit, but he still had 5 assists last night. You know, and McCullough had his big game the other night. Now it was Diawara's turn. And so everybody, it seems like everybody, but you know, you're talking about data collection. It's not Daddy A collection right now, because he seems to be the only one who can't get in the ball game for whatever the reason. But I think that he's even going to have at some point, just because that's how the game works. And Tom Thibodeau talked about that a lot, right? Over the course of the season, you need everybody. And right now we're relying on everybody. And the good news is that everybody is showing that they can play. I actually really like Jamison a lot. Like, I think Trey Jamison is a really nice player who has a future in this league. I think you know, I'm not saying thrust him into the starting lineup, but when you have Towns in foul trouble, you're without Robinson, you can put him in for a couple of minutes.
Would you prefer him over Huck Porty if it was your choice?
Oh, that's tough, because I mean, based on last night, yes, but I think Huck Porty's done well in other games. So if you're just judging it by what he did last night, for sure, but I've seen Huck Porty play a lot better than he did last night. I don't know.
For sure.
I'm not sure what it was, and maybe it's just, sometimes it's just like that. It's not your night or whatever. But I actually think Ariel has a lot of potential too, and could be, and maybe it is if we can't afford to keep Mitch, that next year that these guys are going to be tasked and asked to step up and be ready for those roles, and hopefully they will be. I mean, we don't know that's a conversation for another time, but I really like what, in the small sample size, I've really liked what I've seen from Jamison. I think he's a nice little ball player.
Yeah. I guess the only one we didn't talk about was, we didn't talk about Brunson, but 28 points, 10 rebounds. There's just another day at the office, so he doesn't even make it on the onto the list. And I talked about it in my little monologue about I liking the fact that Mike Brown dusted off Yabusele and gave him a few minutes, just 16 minutes, 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 3 or 4 from 3-point line. But even him, coming in like, this is my opportunity. I don't know. I might just get 3 minutes. I better knock down a shot in that 3 minutes, because I don't know when I'm up to see the floor again. You got to make the most of your minutes.
Really last night, Clarkson was
13 minutes.
13 minutes, small roles. So being flexible with it, I think that's the right way to play it. When you have a plethora of talented players, go with the guys who are really cooking. And we saw, in the San Antonio game in particular, Clarkson's performance really stood out, but we didn't need him for 25, 30 minutes. And so we were able to play some of these other guys, and I think we were rewarded for that. So, the more weapons that you have at your disposal, the easier it is to win in this league. And they're just, everybody's getting their chance to shine. We do have like 2 or 3 super chats.
Yeah. No, I'm going to get to I am going to get the super chat. I did see them. I agree with that, but I just thought it was good for Yabusele to get back in the game.
100.
After 2 DMPs, right? You don't want anybody to get too low. I don't know anything about his confidence. He probably would have remained confident anyway, but it was just good to see Mike Brown go to him, and it was good to see him
not shy. At any rate, he was 3 of 4, and he, from beyond the arc. So, and that's what you want him to do. And actually, this is the first time I really felt like his rebounding numbers were down. I've actually been pretty impressed with how he's done on the glass in the games where he wasn't necessarily shooting well. And This was kind of the first night where he didn't really do much in terms of that. But he made some shots when he was in the game, and he's going to be a useful piece somewhere along. I'm still convinced of that. I don't think
really. Okay.
I don't think he's going to be I don't even know that he's going to be I think he's going to be a situational piece, but I think he can still be a useful piece. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. And kudos to the team for just passing him the ball, and passing Diawara the ball, and passing whoever is open the ball. As opposed to, I've seen last year, you look at a player and go in the other direction, in years past, I should say. Not last night. All right, let's get to the chat, particularly the super chats. Shout out to Paris Duggar. Appreciate you. A few things. Brown is coaching my dream way: develop, encourage, then trust in season to build depth and trade value assets. That's something we don't talk about in the hype. The players are, you're showing them and you're developing them, but you're developing them for your team, or maybe even as a trade asset. And I know we don't like to talk about that, but that is the reality of the NBA, right? And so the more they play, the more they perform, the more they have tape, the more they become valuable trade assets. Now, whether the Knicks I'm not saying the Knicks will trade them, but that is the flip side of it that we don't talk about in all of our hype and excitement. Modi is rookie. Siakam, JB. Why? Because he's dark skinned and lanky. We'll see. We'll see how he develops. Trey, what's up, fam? It's been a minute. Good morning, fam. Good to see y'all again. Was at the Hawks Knicks game Saturday night with my son. Good vibes. Hoping to hop on some episode soon. Definitely. I believe the link you have, I can send it to you again. I believe it's the same link. I don't think we've.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
think
tournament link. He should still have it. We'd love to have it on Thursday if you're free. I know it's New Year's, so you probably have plans, but if not.
Yeah. You were on New Year's, Geoff? That's what.
Yeah.
So New Year's 9 p.m. Let's kick it off with a weekly super show. Shout out to you, Trey. Miss you. Hope all is well with the fam. Great take debates. I appreciate you. Mo here. Diawara is impressive. We Detroit fanboys ready to rumble. Great take debate. Listen, I'm really looking forward to. I think the Knicks played them twice in January, if I'm not mistaken, once in February. And the Knicks are now just one game behind Detroit, who's lost 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. The Knicks have won 3 in a row. One game behind Detroit. So
January 5th is that first Pistons game, I'm pretty sure. That's
January 5th is the first one.
You know they're going to be sky high for that one. It's going to be it's going to be fascinating theater, I think. So.
Yeah, great take debate. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. Fans of other teams are definitely welcome here. Detroit has been impressive. So I am really looking forward to that game. Thank you. Great takes debates. I appreciate you. I think that's all of the super chats. Let's just get to a few of the chats before we get out of here. Jerrell, hard regular season games build up the immune system for the playoffs. Well, the Knicks better get fortified because the playoffs is going to be a movie. I cannot wait. Shout out to you, old head Crim's dad. I appreciate you. Born Freedom, Peace Family. Coach Brown is developing his bench for the playoffs. That's a great point. When we're healthy, I'm not sure. The rest of the bench that's outside of the rotation, it's good for them to get minutes because if there's foul trouble, if anything happens, somebody gets injured, they have to miss a game. They've gotten some time through the course of a season. You know what to expect. They know what to expect. They've played with these players before. It's not it's not the first time. I'm not sure. Maybe Kolick, who's in the playoff rotation. It's so early. But yeah. Old head, I love that Coach Brown played 12 players last night. Yeah, I love it too. Something ain't right here. We this ain't us. And I let me see if I can find a player or find a combination that can help turn the tide here, at least defensively. Chris Gotti, it wasn't pretty, but it was gritty. Facts. It was.
That seems to be the theme of the season so far. I've seen that quite a bit. I think they even have T-shirts for it. So yeah, that's and I love that. Like that was '90s Knicks for sure. Like that's what we grew up on. So I'm perfectly content with that. As long as we win, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how. It doesn't have to be a work of art and hang in the Louvre. We just need to have more points at the end of the day than the other guy.
For sure. Shout out to old head again. Knicks Nation in the house. Appreciate you. Kim Doc, appreciate you. Gritty win and solid comeback. Those New Orleans fans left saddened. Yeah. For sure. Tay Southside, I'm enjoying the process. Yeah. Shout out to Sadu Barry. I hope I got that right. I appreciate you. We will see the young kid, the wing, come up. Aka Walk. I know who you are. I know exactly who you are. Prince the Bun, but or the Bun Prince. But excuse me that I can't pronounce your name, but I appreciate you joining us. Wiz, happy belated birthday again. I think I'm gonna say that every day until the Thursday show. Deuce, 12 or 14 in the fourth quarter. Didn't miss a beat. Blanche Tears, Freezy in the house. Good morning, Freezy. Still Knick fans, what's good? Salute to the chat. I can't believe what I'm watching. We have the Dope Soul Collective, but now we have the Knicks Collective. It's happening. No doubt. No doubt. It really is. Charles Turner, I appreciate you. Load management is paying off. It's what's actually driving the youth movement along with injuries. Great point. Great point. The coolest 718, I appreciate you. Crim's dad, I appreciate you. Kim Dot, Mike Brown is getting high pressure coaching situations and is showing improving. Yeah, I mean, listen, Mike Brown is is a good coach. Like I talked about, coaching is dynamic. So the Mike Brown who won 60 games in Sacramento the first year is not the same Mike Brown in year 2 and year 3. This is the business of coaching. Things go right. You celebrate it, things go wrong. It doesn't take long for that seat to get hot. Let's look at what's going on with Kenny Atkinson over in Cleveland. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about Sadiq Bey. He had all 26 of his points in that first quarter. Sadiq
I thought you were going to say he had all 75 of the
New
Orleans points in the first half.
Right, he looked like prime T-Mac in the first half. Yeah, no doubt. Somebody said it was the Sadiq Bey Invitational or
that's
not invitational, like an audition for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Jabroni. Jeff is the Olympic Russian judge. He ain't giving out. You ain't gonna get much. You better come show approval over a long period of time. I'm not that far behind, Jeff. I get it.
Great comment either way.
Yeah, great comment. Yeah, Bay did, but I like the fact that they put the clamps on him in the second half. I wouldn't mind him on the team. He only took 4 shots in the second half and missed all 4. Skoe, SKOE, I agree we played a bad defensive game, but when I see Detroit and Houston with so many bad losses, it makes me happy we can dig deep for games when we are not at our best. And listen, context matters. We were without Mitchell Robinson last night and Josh Hart. Those are 2 big losses. Deuce was back, but those were 2 big losses in terms of impact. Like Mitch, even if he plays 18 minutes, they're an impactful 18 minutes. And Josh is a starter, and that starting lineup has been doing pretty well. I think plus 8.7 with him, in the lineup.
Well, and the other thing too is even Deuce, who was back, didn't have a full minutes load. So really, you're almost like not half a starter, but I would say a third of of an extra player down in addition to those. I mean, he was great when he was on the court, but if he's healthy, he's playing 35 or 36 minutes in that game, probably with all the injuries that we have. So he was about half speed, compared to what it could have been, but it worked out well because he was he got his number called in the fourth quarter, he did it all, and that was huge. So big ups to him.
Yeah, definitely was. Good morning, Latoria. Appreciate you joining us. Jabroni was the one, he was playing like he was auditioning for a role in Hollywood with his performance last night, or for a role on the Knicks, right? A lot of people are high on Sadiq Bey. That's Sim's guy, man. When the draft came, Sim wanted Sadiq Bey. I wonder if he still feels the same. Kim Doc was that. I called it the Sadiq Bey Knicks Invitational. Yeah.
Well, you know what? If Sim likes him, I have a lot of faith and confidence in his ability as a coach, just as someone who sees the game. If he thinks Sadiq could be good for this team, that fascinates me. But I mean, even if you do, like, I'm just throwing names out there, but if it was like a Yabu and Pacome, where are the minutes for Bey? I mean, because he's a player who's going to come here expecting, I would imagine, you know what I mean? He plays like
not even expecting. You're not trading for him if he's not in the rotation. Like, you're not giving up assets for somebody to be situational.
Right. And so who does that mean gets kicked out of the rotation or
Facts.
gets their minutes reduced significantly. So,
Yep.
you know,
Well, he's better than some players we have in the rotation.
he is.
Yes.
But carving out that whole, you know what I mean, that whole 28 or so minutes without.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you're trading a rotation piece, it's easy to say, well, he's
Right.
just filling in here. But if you're just trading fringe pieces, then and you're going to be inserting him into the rotation, that means that
absolutely
multiple players are going to be getting a minutes haircut.
Yep. Deuce is different. Yeah. Mets, Knicks fan. Let's go. 47-44. Salute. Happy New Year. Love this team. The D concerns me. Diawara reminds me of Pascal Siakam from Indy. Okay. All right. I mean, a young Siakam, right? Athletic, long, didn't shoot well. All right. Okay. Kerry Cox, I appreciate you. East Blue Drew, I appreciate you as well. Randu, I appreciate you. Okay. Paris Duggar, you already know. Okay. All right. Ducksaurus, I appreciate you. Rex, appreciate you. Old head, of course. All right. I think. All right. Any last words, Jeff?
Everybody be safe for New Year's. We'll have a couple shows that we should be doing I don't know if it'll be lunchtime live, but I don't know what time you want to do the post game
for New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day, yeah.
I would like to do like 10, 11. It's up to you, Jeff.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm fine any way you want to go about it. So I should be available, but and then we should come at you with the 1-2 punch and maybe have a couple New Year's guest stars if Trey can come along for the ride. And you never know who else is going to stop by. Sometimes we get a Lawrence Tears sighting and a Freezy comes by, or you never know. But we always have the Jerrell and Queen and me and my guy Ajay, Hollywood.
Yeah. Double that. Yeah. I like that double dip on New Year's Day. I think we have Jamrock always. Still think we need another big wing defender who can shoot, not another scorer. Another shoot. Now I think we need another scorer more so than a shooter. I mean, we got guys who can shoot, who can get their own bucket. Like when you get into the playoffs, you need some. I mean, you need shooters. You can never have as many, but you need somebody when things slow down and things start halting, going to a grind. Who can get their shot off the dribble? Brunson and Clarkson. You know.
Maybe we just need more people with Son at the end of the name. We can have Hartson and McBrideson, and they can start to do that too.
And D Public Enemy, appreciate you. It's been a minute, if I'm not mistaken, D Public Enemy. I appreciate you. If you can choose, come on, Sadiq Bey or Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy, man, that's my guy. Look like he grew since our last.
And he was dapping up the Knicks starters. Trey is friends with Brunson and with Josh Hart and them. So I don't know how they have a relationship, but you could definitely tell that those guys like each other. So yeah, if you could get Trey Murphy, you do it and you don't look back. But I don't think he's available. I would be shocked if New Orleans got rid of him.
No, I think he. They talked about it on the broadcast how Borrego. Remember, he coached Charlotte. I believe he's the interim coach right now. They might not have said it on the broadcast, but when I was doing my research for the Stats and Storyline show, how he feels that Trey Murphy and Jones are like the cornerstones of the organization. For whatever that means, they could both be out the door in 2 months. You know what I mean? Nick Nation is going to be with us. I will see you all and can't wait to join you all on Thursday. Nice, Nick Nation.
Go.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do like a New Year's show, like you do New Year's resolutions. Maybe we'll do Knick resolutions or something to that.
That'd be fun. I like that idea.
Yeah. Something to that. So Darlene Bryant, appreciate you. Yes. Peace, Knick Nation. No, I thought you were talking about us as Knick Nation, but all right, I'm gonna take it both ways. I'm gonna take it both ways, Darlene. I know you shouted us out earlier in the show. I forgot to put it up. Anyway, Geoff, it's always always a pleasure. We play Saturday, so Knick Nation, I'm not sure if you're available Sunday. If you're available Sunday, I would love to have you on to do the post game with me. For the Philly game. It's going to be early though. It's going to be like 10 Eastern Standard time. I kind of like to get it out the way on the weekends and holidays. But Geoff, I appreciate you. Always a pleasure. You make this fun. I look forward to it. I'm like, I wonder what Geoff is going to have to say about this tomorrow. What camp is he going to be in? Get a win, or we got to do better, or both, right? Get a win and do better. Anyway,
what's the Russian judge got on his card?
Right. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the replay gang, and of course, shout out to the silent listeners. I appreciate everybody. This is a fun season and a fun time right now, and I don't want to take it for granted.
Amen.
All right. Until next time, family. Peace.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?